Instantiating prefabs at runtime. Prefabs come in very handy when you want to instantiate complicated game objects or collections of game objects at runtime. Compared with creating game objects from scratch using code, instantiating prefabs using code has many advantages because you can instantiate a prefab using one line of code. Creating equivalent game objects from scratch requires many more lines of code. Set up, test, and modify the prefab quickly and easily using the scene view hierarchy inspector. Change which prefab is instantiated without changing the code. You can make a simple racket into a supercharged racket without any code changes. So you can download the examples. I already did that, so you can just click here and it's gonna be saving your document. So what I'm gonna do right now is you can go into your Unity hub, and right now I have two projects, so this is gonna be the prefab. So you can just create new project and just go into 3D and just create a project. So I already did that, and this is the 3D project that I have. I name it prefabs. I'm gonna go into the asset folders, and right now I just have the scenes folder. So right now if we go into create, and let me see, it's gonna be where okay, it's gonna be here in the prefab. As you can see, I can just click here and just name it, let's just name it a sphere. Let's just name it a sphere for now. Okay, so we have a prefab and we just name it a sphere. So, and we go into the game object, we have nothing because in the hierarchy we only have the main camera and we have the directional light. Okay, so we have this prefab. So, and the way that I did that was just I go into the assets folder, and you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a folder. I'm gonna name it prefabs like this, and I'm gonna drag this sphere prefab into the folder. So if I go into the folder prefabs, I'm gonna have the sphere prefab. So okay, so we have a folder for prefabs, we can have a folder for C# scripts, we can have a folder for materials, all the stuff. Okay, and right now if I go to my programming.js, I'm gonna go into Unity, and this is pretty much the files that we downloaded. So if you click here, oops, yeah, if you click here, you're gonna have this zip folder, and you can download it to your whatever folder you have. So I downloaded to my programming.js folder, to a folder name, I think I named it Unity. So yeah, that's it. So basics of instantiating a prefab. To instantiate a prefab at runtime, your code needs a reference to that prefab. You can make this reference by creating a public variable in your code to hold the prefab reference. The public variable in your code appears as an assignable field in the inspector. You can then assign the actual prefab you want to use in the inspector. The script example below has a single public variable, and that variable name is my prefab. That is a reference to a prefab. It creates an instance of a prefab in the start method, so in this function. Okay, so again, this is the C#, and again we can just go into our assets folder, and let's create a new one. So create folder, and I'm just gonna name it scripts like this. So we have 3 folders here, and this is different from the previous one. In the previous video we created a game where one object was following another object. I don't know if you remember. So let's see if I have it here. If we go into Unity, let me see if I can open it. Let me see, core samples, templates, all templates, and it's gonna be the first one. No, it's gonna be Unity. Let's click in the Unity, and let me see. Okay, so right now what we are gonna do is to To use this example, create a new C# script in your project. Oops. Now I did it. So now, okay, this was the okay. So my project. So let's leave it like that. It's gonna take a while. Okay, to use this example, create a new C# script in your project and name it instantiation example. Okay, and let's do it. I'm just gonna copy the name. Okay, so instantiating example. Okay, so this is the game that we play in the previous video. So we have 3 objects, and this object is gonna be following, I think it's gonna follow the cube or the sphere. Let's play it, and it's following the sphere. Okay, and as you can see, we have a folder scripts, and we have, okay, the follow, that is this capsule, then we have the cube, and we have the sphere. So we have all the stuff. Let's just close it. So that was for the previous video. Okay, so this one is empty, that's fine. And let me see, we're gonna go into the scripts, folder, right click, create, and then C#, and I'm just gonna paste that one. And let me see, the name is, okay, let me see, instantiation example.cs. so let me see, that is the one, example, yeah, that's fine. And we can double click so we can open it in Visual Studio Code. And okay, copy and paste the script example above into your script and save it. Okay, so let's just copy and paste. So let's close this one, and let's just delete this whole thing and just paste what we just copied, and just save it with Ctrl+S. Okay, saving it for now. Okay, so if we go into the console, nothing's happening, but if we go into the inspector, okay, in the inspector you can see that we have the reference, we have the script, and in the void star, so in the method here, this function, we have the instantiate my prefab, and then we have the new vector 0, 0, 0 quaternion that identity. So we have that so far. Let's see what is the next. Okay, now create an empty, okay, so create an empty game object using the menu. Now we're gonna go into the game objects, create empty. Okay, so, or you can just go into the hierarchy, or right click, and then 3D, and then what it was, create empty. Oops, let me see, game object, create empty. Okay, yeah, right click and just create empty like this. Or you can also go into the game object and create empty. So you can go here and just create empty, or you can just pretty much Ctrl+Shift+M. Okay, so let me see how it's changed. Okay, so we have this. Let's click F. Let me see. Okay, and nothing is changing so far. Okay, now add the script to the new game object as a component by dragging it onto the empty game object. So we're gonna do that. So you can do that, just grab this, oops, we can just grab this file, and I was just about to say, just grab this C# and just drop it in here, but I cannot see it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab it and just drop it here in the game object. So I'm just gonna grab it and I'm just gonna drop it here. And now if I go into the game object, so okay, so you could have done the same. So but now I am in the game object. If you go into the inspector to the right hand side, you can see that we have the script instantiation example. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We are able to pretty much add this script, this C# code into the game object. So now what we are gonna do is Okay, add the script to the new game object as a component by dragging it onto the empty game object. Now create any prefab and drag it from the project window into the prefab field in the script component. So okay, so we are gonna do now is create any prefab, and we can just do it here. Let's just let me see, I already have it here. Yeah, let's go here into this sphere game object. So let's just delete this one. Yeah, delete that one and just create let me see, it was prefab, this one, and just name it. I'm just gonna name it game object, like this, game object. So and drag it from the project, and yeah, drag it from the project window. So this is the project window, so drag it from the project window into my prefab field in the script. So into the okay, so we need to go into the game object, so make sure you are in the game object, and we need to go here into the my prefab. So right now it's pretty much non-game, so we have nothing here, but we're just gonna drag this prefab that we just created, and let me see. Okay, so I just grab it and I'm gonna drop it here. Okay, so the name is game object, so I already drop it. If we go into the game object now, if you go into the my prefab, you can see that we have a game object here, so that's fine so far. Okay, and you can follow this along, so you can just, well, they have a prefab, they didn't name it, it's just a prefab, and they have it in the asset folder. What I did was I created a prefabs folder inside of the asset folder, and inside of the prefabs folder I have this prefab component, and pretty much the extension is that prefab, and I just drag it and I just drop it into the game object. So make sure that you first have to select the game object here, and then you just drag it and drop it here. So that's what I did. Okay, so dragging a prefab from the project window into the my prefab field in the script component. When you start play mode, you should see your prefab instantiate at position 000 and the scene and the coordinate system. And let me see, you can drag a different prefab into my prefab field in the inspector to change which prefab is instantiated without having to change the script. Okay, so let's give it a try. If I just click the play mode, so let's see what happens. Okay, well, nothing's happening yet. Oops, game object. So okay, so we have a clone, that's fine, but we don't have any object so far yet. Let me see if I, oops, yeah, we have, oops. Okay, if I double click here and it becomes blue. Okay, let's just leave it like that. Okay, so let's go back. So we have the main camera, we have the clone, let's just leave it like that. And again, we have just the game object, so we have this prefab, but we have no 3D object, so we don't have here like a cube, a sphere, a capsule, a cylinder, a plane, a quad. So that's the reason we cannot see anything here, but we already did this procedure. Okay, because this, for example, is very simple, it might not seem to provide any advantage over just placing a prefab into the scene yourself. However, being able to instantiate prefabs using your code provides you with powerful abilities to dynamically create complex configurations of game objects while your game or app is running, as shown in the following example. So let's see some KMS scenarios. So to illustrate the strength of instantiating prefabs at runtime, here are some basic situations where they are useful. Building a structure out of a single prefab by replicating it multiple times in different positions, for example in a grid or circle formation. Okay, and here are some examples of the prefab. If you go to the Google and just pretty much type in prefabs Unity, so these are some examples that they're providing us, and we're gonna see some more examples here. Okay, so firing a projectile prefab from a launcher. The projectile prefab could be a complex configuration containing a mesh, a rigid body, collider, audio source, dynamic light, and a child game object with its own trail particle system. A vehicle, building, or character, for example a robot, breaking apart into many pieces, and the scenario, the example, the script deletes and replaces the complete operational robot prefab with a reg robot prefab. This reg prefab consists of separate broken parts of the robot, each set up with rigid bodies and particle systems of their own. This technique allows you to blow up a robot into many pieces, which has one line of code which replaces the original game object with a reg prefab. The following sections show you how to implement these scenarios. So we are gonna see right now building a structure. You can use code to create many copies of a prefab in a particular configuration almost instantaneously. Using code to generate a structure like this is called procedural generation. The example below creates a wall of black instances. To try this example, create a script below and name it wall, and place it on an empty game object in your scene. So let me see. What we are gonna do right now is building here. We are gonna, okay, we don't see anything, but we are gonna go into the scene right now, and we are gonna go into the prefabs folder, and this time let's pick, we are gonna go into the right click, create empty. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just grab let's just grab a cube. Okay, let's just grab a cube. So we have a cube right now. And what else? So we need to go into the prefabs folder, and we are gonna name it, we are gonna name it wall. So this cube, we are gonna name it wall. So just rename it, and it's just gonna be wall. And here in the prefabs, well, we need to go into the scripts folder. We're gonna name it wall. And oops, as you can see right now, it's not gonna work because it's in play mode, so I have to do it again. So make sure this is not playing, so this is not in blue. Okay, so it has disappeared. So I'm gonna create now yeah, that's fine, a cube, but I'm gonna name it wall like this. And let's, okay, it's looking like this. The camera, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine for now. I'm gonna go into the scripts, and I'm just gonna have let me see, scripts, and I'm just gonna name a wall like this. Now what I'm gonna do is double click. Okay, so you can try this example, create a script below, name a wall, and place it on an empty game object in your scene. So I'm gonna just copy this one. Let me see. Oops, I didn't copy the whole thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this piece of code, and I'm just gonna delete this stuff here, paste it, save it, and again. Okay, so I already pasted. Let me see, it's charging. Okay, so if we go into wall, well, nothing's happening right now. Okay, when you have done this, you should see a black variable in the inspector with the word none in the field. A value of none means that no prefab has been assigned to the variable yet. Okay, so let's check out into the stuff. We have the wall here, and material default, cast cube. Let me see. Okay, when you have done this, you should see a black variable in the inspector, a black variable. So wall, oh, obviously I need to grab this one and just pretty much drag it into the wall itself, so I can just drag here, and now we have this black here. So oops, so if we go into the script, to the script here, we see the black, we see width, and we see height. As you can see, in black we have none, so pretty much if you click here, we have directional light, we have game object, main, and wall. So we have those three options so far. Okay, now a value of none means that no prefab has been assigned to this variable yet. So now the black variable, we know prefab assigned yet. So again, we have just width 10, height 4. The example script above won't work until you assign a prefab to the black variable to create a simple black prefab. So we're gonna go into the choose game object, and now we're gonna grab a cube. Okay, let's just go to create a simple black, choose a game object 3D. Okay, so yeah, pretty much we're gonna go and create a cube, and yeah, let's do that. So we're gonna go here in 3D object cube, and okay, drag the cube from the hierarchy window into the assets folder in the project window. Let's create a prefab asset. Okay, so drag the cube from the hierarchy window into the assets folder into the project window. This creates a prefab asset. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now instead, well, I'm gonna grab this cube, but I have a prefab folder, and I'm gonna grab this cube and I'm just gonna drag it and drop it in the project here. Okay, so I have a cube right now, so that's fine. Okay, and what else now? Drag the cube from the hierarchy window into the assets folder into the project window. This creates a prefab asset. Rename it. Rename your prefab to black. Okay, so we're gonna, instead of black, we're just gonna rename it, so just F2, and we're gonna name it black like this. Okay, so as you can see, we have here, let me see, now that your black prefab exists as an asset, you can safely delete the cube from your hierarchy. Okay, so now we can just pretty much delete it. Let me see, cube. Okay, and this is the wall, but we deleted the cube, so that's fine. And now if I click in the block, well, we still have a prefab, so that's the beauty of having prefabs. And again, I have in the assets folder, I have a prefabs folder, a scenes folder, and a script folder. In my script folder, I have the C# code, and this is the prefabs folder. So right now I have block and I have the game object. So now that you have created a black prefab, you can assign it to the black variable. Okay, select your original game object, the one with the wall script attached to it. So let's just double click for now here. Okay, the one with the wall script attached to it, then drag the black prefab from the project window into the black variable slot where it says none. So let me see, into, okay, it's gonna be in this one. Let me see, let me just double check. So now that you have created a black prefab, you can assign it to the black variable. So the black variable is this one. This is the black variable. Oops, this is a black variable. Select your original game object, the one with the wall script attached to it, and drag the black prefab from the project window into the black variable slot where it says none. So let's give it a try here. Let's just grab it and drop it. So I'm gonna grab this block here, and I'm gonna drop it right here where it says none. Where it said none, but now it says black. Okay, Okay, so that's fine. Now the black variable with the black prefab assigned to it. When you have finished the setup, click play and you see that Unity builds up wall using the prefab. So a wall built from 4 rows of 10 blocks as generated by the example below. So let's give it a try. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, let me see if we can modify. Oops. Yeah, I have kind of like a wall. So Minecraft, let me see, let me go into the main camera. Okay, so now I'm just gonna press Alt and then just move it around. So oh no, that's not gonna work. Let me see if I click. I need to click this one. I'm gonna modify it with, well, the I'm gonna move the camera. So I'm gonna click this option here. I'm just gonna play around a little bit. Oops. Let me see. Well, you can play around here, maybe like that. No, this is not. Let me see, let me just move it like that, and okay, let's just leave it like this. But now if this is just pretty much, it doesn't really look like a, let me just click it like that first of all. And we have just a cube, so this is the problem. We have a cube, but here it doesn't look like 3D, it just look like a square. So let's make it look like a cube. So maybe I can move this one a little bit here towards and if I, okay, that would be something. Let me see, let me move this one maybe a little bit, and let me play around with the camera just to make sure. Let me see, and maybe here, okay, something like this. Okay, so yeah, now you can appreciate the cube a little bit better. So let me maybe move this one a little bit here like that. Okay, so let me see, maybe right here. Okay, so oops, maybe a little bit down. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, maybe yeah, now you can appreciate it a little bit better. So now let's click play, and oops, no, that's too big now. Okay, so let's move this one here. Okay, so well, you have the idea here. So we have let me see, let me now move it like that, maybe move it here, and let me like this, move it like that. Okay, so now you can appreciate a little bit, like we have all these cubes right now. We can make it a little bit bigger here, but you can appreciate that this is a 3D, that is not a 2D, and this is a cube, not a square. So maybe we can play here like this, and yeah, you can start playing around here so you can make it look more like a 3D. Okay, and yeah, this is a wall built from 4 rows of 10 blocks as generated by the example above. And if we go into the, let me see, if we go into the script, so we just copy and paste it, but pretty much when we go into the script itself in the C#, okay, so we have the using Unity, we have the class wall, that's fine. We have public game object block, and here we have the public integer, so we're using the integer width is 10, the height is 4. Okay, that is the reason 10 by 4, as they say here. A wall built from 4 rows of 10 blocks as generated in the example. So pretty much the height is 4 rows. So as you can see here, the height, yeah, 4 rows. If you divide here, 4 rows, and the width would be 10. And the reason is because here we are assigning 10. Let's see if we can modify this one a little bit. So 12 and, yeah, I don't know, 3. Save it, and let me see. Oh no, okay, let me see if it did. I don't think it did that. Let me see if we click play. And no, I don't think it did that. Yeah, I continue with 3 and 4. So because we need to move this black. And now let me see. Okay, so the width here is 10 and 4, so let's just keep it here at 12 and 3. So let's just leave it like that and then click play. Okay, and again, so let's just, what is the camera? Let's just move it backwards here. Okay, so now we can make this one maybe transparent. So let me see. This is the cube, cast shadow off. Okay, as you can see now, the width obviously is 12 now because it's higher, it's greater, and the height, it has decreased from 4 to 3. Okay, so we have that. Let me see here if we go into the, I think it was not this one, animation 3D. Let's just click this one and let's just let me see, this one shaded wireframe. Let me just click play again. Okay, oops, as you can see now, I went into this option and pretty much just wireframe. Let me see if I can just, okay, so let me just go outside here, and now I just click in the shaded wireframe. So now if I click play, it's gonna create a 12 by 3. And again, we have all these clones here. We have the wall, but then we have all these black clones here. And the camera, where is the camera? So let's move the camera way here maybe. But now as you can see, we have the 12, so, or the height is 3, so you can see 3 here, but the width now is gonna be 12, or 3, 3, 3, and then 3, so 12. As you can see here how it's working with that. And again, you can just select in the camera and just play around maybe. And let me see, you can just move it like that, and this is how it would look like. Or you can just maybe play around here so to make it more. Okay, so let's see how it would look like. Something like this. Okay, but you got the idea how we are doing it. So now in the void start, in this function, we have the for loop. So we have an integer, so this variable is name is y, so we initialize it to 0 as long as y is less than the height. So in this case the height is 3, we're gonna increment the y by 1. Now we have another for loop, so as long as the integer and the variable name is 0, we initialize, the variable name is x, and we are initialize it to 0 as long as the x is less than the width. In our case the width is 12, we're gonna increment x by 1. Then we're gonna instantiate, so the block, the new vector 3, so we have the z, y, and 0. Then we're gonna have the quaternion, that identity. So this is all the code, and here we're not trying, well, we are trying to learn the C#, but mainly we are trying to learn Unity. And if you want to go and learn more about the C#, there are more documentation about that. Okay, so, but yeah, this is all the information that we have for this particular case of the instantiating prefabs at runtime.